My name is Tom Becker. I'm 58 years old, and I used to run a woodworking shop until I didn't. 3 years ago, I went bankrupt. I lost the business I'd built with my bare hands, lost my home, my savings, my sense of purpose. And yet, somehow, losing everything turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because it felt good, but because it forced me to grow in a way I never would have dared when things were comfortable. This isn't a story about success. It's a story about starting again. I never saw it coming. I saw the numbers changing. I just didn't think they'd catch up to me. I owned a small shop called Becker Custom Woodworks. For over 2 decades, I made tables, cabinets, porch swings, solid, handcrafted pieces that people actually loved. The kind that reminded you of your grandparents' house. My days started early. Smelled like sawdust and fresh coffee. The radio in the back played old rock. And regulars. They came in even when they didn't need anything, just to talk. It wasn't just a job. It was who I was. But in early 2020, things got weird. A supplier I'd worked with for 14 years shut down. Prices for plywood and screws started climbing like crazy. Orders slowed. Some of my most loyal clients started postponing projects until things settled down. I told myself it was temporary. I'd been through slow seasons before. I cut back on hours, laid off my assistant. Linda, my wife, offered to pull from our retirement account. I told her no, that we were fine. We weren't. By May, I was behind on every payment. I maxed out 2 credit cards just to keep the lights on. I sold equipment I swore I'd never part with. Still, I kept showing up. Still built furniture. Still believed I could fix it. Then, one Thursday afternoon, I checked my account. $114.37. That's all I had left. I stared at that number for so long I forgot what I opened the app for. I wanted to throw the phone across the room, or cry, or scream, but I didn't do anything. I just shut it off. That night, I didn't say a word to Linda. She made pasta and frozen green beans. We ate on the couch in silence. I don't know what hurt more, the food or pretending we weren't both terrified. 2 days later, I closed the shop for good. I unplugged the tools, stacked the leftover lumber, swept the sawdust one last time. When I flipped the sign to closed, I did it slowly, like maybe time would stop if I moved slow enough. Then I turned the lock. Click. That sound was louder than any machine I'd ever used. That was the sound of 22 years of my life. Ending. We sold the house, packed what we could into a rented U-Haul, moved into a 1-bedroom apartment someone from church let us rent cheap. It smelled like bleach and secondhand grief. I remember standing in the kitchen that first night, looking around at the bare walls and whispering, "So this is what failure looks like." We ate microwave burritos sitting on the floor. No chairs, no table, just paper towels and silence. The next few weeks were a blur. I'd wake up before the sun, not because I had anywhere to be, but because I couldn't sleep. I'd stare at the ceiling and wonder what the hell I was now. Not a boss, not a provider, just some guy who used to matter. Then one morning I saw a job post online. Delivery driver needed, $14 per hour, must have own vehicle. I laughed out loud. That was the kind of job I used to give to summer interns. But reality doesn't care about your ego. Rent was coming up again, and pride doesn't pay the bills. So I applied. They gave me a gray polo shirt, a barcode scanner, and a van that smelled like old fries. My manager was young enough to call me sir. It stung, but I showed up. I delivered packages. I smiled. I scanned. And somewhere in the middle of it, I started paying attention. Some deliveries were late. Some customers were frustrated. Some neighborhoods had no reliable option at all. I kept a little notepad in my glove box and jotted things down. I didn't know it yet, but I was already building something new. After a few months, I registered the name Becker Local. No apps, no automation, just real people, serving real people. I told a few customers, If you ever need something handled with care, call me directly. They did, and then their neighbors did. I quit the delivery job and went all in. My service was simple: groceries, errands, pickups. No algorithm, just accountability. Soon I brought on others like me, people who'd lost jobs, confidence, or both. We weren't fancy, but we showed up on time. We smiled, we remembered names, and it grew. By the second year, we had 3 vans, 5 part-timers, and a tiny office in the back of an old diner. In year 3, we cleared over $250,000. Not bad for a guy who started with $114 and a used van. But the money wasn't the win. The win was dignity. It was Linda laughing again over coffee. It was a customer saying, "I trust you, Tom." It was walking past the corner where my old shop once stood, and not feeling shame. Look, it wasn't easy. There were nights I nearly gave up. Days I thought, who am I fooling? But second chances don't come with confetti. They come with hard work and humility. If you're listening to this and you've hit your wall, lost your job, your house, your identity, I want you to know, it's not over. You're not broken. You're being rebuilt. And sometimes, the best homes are built on the ashes of what once burned down. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you that it's never too late to begin again, don't forget to subscribe. We share real stories of second chances every week. Leave a comment if you've ever had to start over. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And remember, sometimes losing everything is exactly what brings you back to who you really are.